Today I want to show you a book that has 3 sampler quilts in it, all in modern settings. Hi, I'm Kim Jamieson Hurst of Chatterbox Quilts, and today I'm taking a look at Sister Sampler Quilts, 3 modern sampler quilts with paired sister blocks, and it's by Anne Marie Cheney. Now, there's a lot just in that title, right? But there are 3 different sampler quilts in here, all in modern settings, and they're using what she calls sister blocks. Now, sister blocks are kind of the inverse of one another, okay? That's kind of what they are. Or they're blocks, and you put them together, you get kind of some secondary designs. You might find that in some of these too. But for the most part, there's differences in the fabric, how the fabrics are used in the 2 different blocks. So the first one here is called Sisters 10 Sampler. It's made of 10 different blocks, made 2 different ways, so that gives you 20 blocks in this sampler project. Now, these blocks all have feminine type names. So you'll find things like Old Maid's Puzzle, Contrary Wife, things like that. Sound a bit misogynistic, some of them, but there are some other ones in there that are kind of redeem us from some of those old-fashioned kind of names that don't sound very complimentary, right? Like, for example, there's Grandmother's Frame. That sounds a lot better, doesn't it? So you can see when they're making these blocks, we've got 2 different colorways really going on in here. So the more red here and more blue you can see here. So you've got the red going here, the blue, kind of teal blue going on there. So 2 different ways of making that block as far as the type of fabric that you're using, the colors of fabric that you're using. And you have all the different information, different diagrams here on how to make these particular blocks. And they're all lettered, A, B, C, whatever it may be, so that you know what color you're using in there. So for example, A is all this light color, B is all the green, that type of thing. So it makes it really easy to make sure you've got your fabric in the right place, which when you're making blocks like this can sometimes be an issue. You've also got Schoolgirl's Puzzle, for example. So you can see how they look quite different when you put the different colors, you know, you not reverse the colors, but change up the colors really is what I'm trying to say here. And there's the Contrary Wife, which I've actually used in one of my patterns. Kind of like that block. Don't like the name so much, but hey, it is what it is, right? Old Maid's Puzzle. There we go again, right? So you can see there's lots of details, lots of text to tell you how to do these, and then the diagram so you're not going to get confused or get your fabrics in the wrong place, hopefully. Does that ever happen to you? Sometimes happens to me. And when you get to the setting on these different samplers, they're all different settings, and they're quite modern in their take. So while the blocks are traditional, the settings are not, and that's really kind of cool. So I really like this particular one. You can see you've got blocks. Half the blocks are in the top left quadrant, the remaining ones are in the bottom right quadrant, and then you've got all of this nice negative space in the center to do a lot of quilting. Again, very easy to put it together. Shows you the different ways, or not the different ways, the different steps, I should say, you know, how you have to lay them out first and then start putting them together and then the final assembly. Okay, I'm going to come back to this page later because I want to talk about the things I really like about this book, and I'm going to do that later in the video. And we'll be going back and referring to some of these other pages. So here are some of the different samples that have been made for the Sisters 10 Sampler quilts. You can see here those reds and teals. Here you've got more of these kind of brighter greens and blue, and you can see all that space available for quilting. Really nice. I love the settings on these. Okay, I think they're really cool. And why would you want to make a sampler quilt? Maybe we should talk about that. Why would you want to make a sampler quilt? Well, because you can learn how to make a lot of different blocks, and you're learning different techniques to make those blocks. So half square triangles, flying geese, you know, what other techniques they may be using. So it's a good way to learn a technique, apply it in a block, and practice it by using it again and again in different blocks. And then, of course, you have a really nice project at the end. The next sampler, sampler number 2, is called the Vice Versa Sampler. And this one has 20 blocks in it. So there's actually 8 block patterns. You make 2 of each of those blocks, that's 16, and then there's one more that you make 4 of. And this one's using all solid fabrics, so it gives you a really modern look to them. And then we're going to talk about the setting too in a few minutes. So some of the blocks, more traditional blocks again, Mosaic number 5, for example, and in this one they actually are reversing those fabric choices. So you can see in this one here you've got the darker fabrics in this border on the diagonal here, whereas here they're white. Same with the center. The center here is white. This one is different fabrics, okay? This is still the same, but you can see how they've changed things up, so it's almost like the inverse of the block. Again, lots of different diagrams to show how to put them together. Half square triangles happening here again. You're going to see that in a lot of the blocks. You also have this rising star block. One of the things I like about the book, I will tease you a little bit with things instead of making you wait so later in the video, is I like how these diagrams are, or these photos I should say, are large, and you can easily see them, and you can easily see what kind of quilting they've done on them too. So that's really helpful. It gives you some ideas. This fox and geese is really fun, I think. Again, a traditional block. You've got all these flying geese going around here, and gives it that momentum, that movement in the block. Again, really easy to see the quilting, and both of them are quilted differently, right? So that's the other thing that's really interesting about that, is that you don't have just the same quilting done on both. So again, gives you more ideas of what you can do. And then we get to the quilt assembly. So you can see, again, this is a diagonal set, a modern setting, quite different. And I'm not sure whether they have, let's see here, I'm looking to see if we have pictures of that quilt. There we are. I was going to say, no, we have pictures somewhere of it. So again, two totally different colorways used in these, and different quilting on them as well. So you got the image of the whole quilt there, so you can see how modern those traditional blocks look when you put them in a different type of setting than the traditional setting you might do. The last sampler in here is called the Bonfire Sampler, and this particular one has 16 blocks in it. You're going to make all 6 of the chapter 3 patterns, and then you get to choose 2 block patterns from chapter 1 and 2, which are the other 2 samplers. Okay, so they're going to show you some new blocks in here, but then you're going to go back and pick a few from the previous sampler, so you can kind of personalize this if you want. Choose whatever ones you like the best. And this one has some curved piecing in it as well, and they explain how to do that. The moon and star block, one I had not seen before, with the curves in the center, is really effective. And again, those diagrams, always diagrams, and text, of course. So no matter what type of learner you are, whether you're visual or whether it's more that you have to read things, you're going to be able to have both those available to you in this book. The box and star frame I thought was really cool as well, with that strip piece center on it. Some of these are blocks I have not seen before, so some interesting ones here that I may want to use in future projects. The friendship star, solid center, but strip pieced in the points of the star as you go around. Another really nice block. And then you can see the ones they've chosen here. And what's really cool about this setting is they have put the half square triangles around as your border, so it makes it look like a bear's paw, really. So I thought that was really cool. And all the different blocks in the center. So again, they look really modern. Some of these blocks are more modern looking. I'm thinking these ones with the curved piecing on them are fairly modern looking anyway, but you are combining them with some traditional blocks. But the difference here is that we put some strip piecing in there, and I think that changes the look to make them more modern as well. At the back of the book, she has information on how to make the different units that you need to make those blocks. Half square triangles, again, step by step, really basic. So if you are a beginner, you can certainly learn how to make these different pieces really easily, because she doesn't leave you hanging anywhere along the way, right? She has explicit step-by-step instructions on all of them, the flying geese as well. Now, I did say at the beginning I was going to talk about why I really like this book, and there are lots of different reasons why I do, besides the really nice samplers that they make. So let's go back and talk about some of those. Actually, let's go back to the very beginning here. My little markers have slipped out, but here we go. When you look at the table of contents, so at the very front of the book, of course, table of contents, what I really liked about this is she's got the 3 samplers in the different chapters, 1, 2, and 3, and she shows you the blocks there. Okay, so if I was looking, if I thought, oh, there was one of those blocks that I really liked in that 3rd sampler, in the bonfire sampler, which one was it? I can open the book and go, oh yeah, it was the moon and star one. Yeah, I want to make that one. Okay, so I really like that she's got them there in the 2 colorways, or in the 2 inverse colors, or there's 2 blocks in each of them, right, where they're showing you different ways to combine the fabrics to change up the look of the block slightly. So I liked that. The page, the name of it's there, the page number's there, you can easily find it. I really like that. Makes it so much easier than trying to flip through the book, remembering where you saw that. The other thing I really like about the book, number 2, the thing I like, is that she gives you quilting suggestions. I always say I hate to see quilt as desired in a book, because this is a book for beginners too. So, if you're a beginner, you don't have any idea of how to quilt your first project, really. So they give you quilting suggestions, okay? Straight line quilting, so you could do that with your walking foot, and also free motion quilting. So I like that. And as I said, in the blocks, you can see them because those photos are really good and close. You can see what they've done in each individual block. So I really like that. And speaking of that, continuing on, there are some more ideas here. This is in the vice versa sampler. She's showing you that. Again, you've got some ones you could do with a walking foot and other ones more free motion. These are edge-to-edge ones that they could take all across the quilt. And then she also shows you some other ones in the block, some ideas for free motion quilting. So really, really, really like that. The other thing that I really like in the book, and I can go to any of the blocks to show you this, is that she shows you how to make them in 2 different sizes. So that, of course, increases the size of your project if you go with the bigger block. So you could make them in 9 inches or you could make them in 12 inches. So I find that really helpful too. And she's got all the information there as to what you cut from the different fabrics. So in Sister Sampler Quilts, there's a lot of information. You're going to learn how to make different pieces like half square triangles, flying geese. You're going to learn how to make different blocks, all these different traditional blocks, and some other ones that I've never seen before. So that's really cool. And then you're going to learn how to combine them into a project in a modern setting. So lots of great information, good step-by-step instructions and diagrams and photos in this book. So if you're interested in taking a look at Sister Sampler Quilts by Anne Marie Cheney, look up above or in the description below, because I'll include links there for you and you could get your own copy if you wanted to. Thanks so much for watching this video today. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your quilting friends. And remember to subscribe and hit the bell so you'll be notified the next time I release a new video. And before you go, check out these other videos I've included just for you. For more helpful quilting information, be sure to go to my website at www.chatterboxquilts.com.